Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the TFL Podcast for Week 6. We're a day late. You're still hearing us on a Thursday. If you're watching with us on the live stream, welcome. It's great to see you. And if you're catching us on YouTube, don't forget to hit that bell, like and subscribe. That'd be fantastic. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. Find us there as well. Arch, mate, you're the reason we're recording on a Friday. What have you been up to? Better be a good reason.
Don't do me dirty like that, Ron. Look, I've had a lovely couple days, just out and about on a couple golf courses down in the south of Adelaide, and a nice little poker night last night to cap it off with the boys. And look, after 2 days of golf and poker, I must admit I'm limping to the line here, Rowan. So you're gonna have to carry the show as well. All right. So I've also got kids awake outside this door that were. Just minutes ago trying to beat down that door. So this could be a fun show.
Look, I'm just surprised that Jackie, your wife, has allowed this to even occur. So I'm very thankful for Jackie.
She's a real hero here. So
she is a real hero.
But we'll push forward, and hopefully those kids go to bed, and we can just talk some fantasy football.
Fingers crossed. Guys, you can catch us in our own contest on Draftstars. You can go to bit.ly/TFL Week 6. That would be fantastic. You'll just join up at Draftstars.
The 40-man contest got to 60. It's getting popular.
It's fantastic. It's $5 single entry. It's a very neat little contest to jump on into. So I didn't do well in it, though, last week. I don't know if you did either, Arch, but
I've not done well in it yet.
We're trying here. That's all right. Oh, well, I've got a micro win to my name for the season. I think I'll just hang up the boots.
I've got a mini win if you count, me and the 50 other blokes that won a showdown. But we're just getting started on the season still, Rowan. So
that's it. There's plenty more to come.
To be fair, we gave my lineup to the pod last week that we were running with, and really it was Herbert just didn't quite get there, did it? So. It got me I'm really thinking about Herbert in terms of a fantasy asset. Like, because he's got this persona as this young up-and-coming quarterback, but fantasy scoring, it doesn't seem to have that same ceiling like you get with your Josh Allens.
Look, he's not using his legs as much.
No,
I think
that's where
it's appealing in DFS is the 300-yard passing bonus that he can hit. Like that, you want to see that. You need to see that. You need to see 3 touchdowns at least through the air. That's what you need for a Justin Herbert game to be providing value. But also, like, you need probably 4 touchdowns through the air if you want a tournament-winning lineup. It is possible though. That's the thing. Austin Eckler is he does receive touchdowns, so the way that they can get the ball into the end zone often is through that. I was thinking about, like, last week, and I was heavy on CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Deebo Samuel, 3 wide receivers in that 11K range last week who were all just missing the mark when it came to their value and didn't perform at all how we thought they would last week, which is disappointing. Compare that to Mike Williams, who was in the exact same price point with a juicy matchup against Cleveland. We know the Chargers are a high-octane offense, and they love to pass. And he was rostered way less than the 3 of them. And it's got me thinking about how do we think about the chalk, the guys who are rostered highly, and who else in that price range that actually has a really similar way, really similar scoring output that's possible. And so I think this week and going further, I really want to make sure that I'm looking into the price brackets and going, who are we favoring here, and where's the chalk going to be found? What's the obvious play? And who else is in that mix that I can actually take a chance on, like a Mike Williams last week, where really I should have went down that track. to leverage off these guys who actually the ceilings are similar. And yeah, so I think that's something that I really want to think forward throughout the rest of this year. Is going, who else is there? Almost like, you don't want to get too thin, but you want to go, what's the other potential outcomes for the other people in that same price bracket? So you got to think that through.
For sure.
Anyway, let's head into our match previews. We've got 5 games that we kind of want to talk about this week, but there's one that's at the top of the list. So let's just jump in, Arch, to our Week 6 matchup previews. Let's go!
Oh, yeah! Week 6! That's Week 6 preview time! Yeah!
Never gets old. Never gets old.
To us, anyway.
To us, right. Fun times. We are here to look at the first game of the week, which is really in the late slate, but it's got the highest over-under, and it's where everybody is going to be looking at. And it is the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Buffalo Bills. And it's at Kansas City, not and Kansas City, as our little caption likes to say.
Yeah, nice.
But Buffalo are 2-point favorites, and they're away favorites, which is always interesting. And we'll see that a lot this week. Actually, a lot of away favorites, a lot of home dogs, which is, really an interesting thing to think through. But today, let's just talk about this game. We've got an over-under of 54. But we're just going to jump into our premium of the week. So we're going to jump into that, Arch. I know it's quick into it, but let's just go. Let's go with our premium of the week.
Yo, show me the money!
Our premium of the week is Josh Allen. And it might just seem like that's a Captain Obvious call, but let's just talk about this game. Buffalo at Kansas City. And we have got here the top 2 teams in expected points added per play. We've got the 3rd and 4th highest teams in explosive play percentage. We've got the 1st and 2nd team in pass rate over expected. We've got the 1st and 3rd team in passing yards per game. We've got the 1st and 2nd team in points per game, points per drive, and touchdowns per game. There is going to be points scored, and you want the quarterbacks that are going to be scoring points, and who better than Josh Allen? He's not even the most expensive player on the slate. You've got Stephon Diggs and Cooper Kupp sitting there more expensive. Josh Allen is a rushing quarterback. His ability to open up the game, score touchdowns at the goal line is phenomenal. He is just everything you want in a quarterback this week. There is a super high floor. He's super safe. Problem is, he's going to be chalky, but the other problem is, I don't know if there's anyone else that I really want to get to in this game, and fading the chalk of Josh Allen is a scary proposition. So, our premium of the week is Josh Allen. Chris, is that... I don't know, there's not much else to be said here, is there?
No,
it's just...
What else can you do? Yeah, go there. You look at this game, it's got highest point total. They've got the highest implied team total. They're ranked 5th in pace in neutral game script. Like, this game is, less than a field goal in it. So back and forth, there's going to be play upon play, points upon points, and they're going to go through Josh Allen.
We know what this was last year as well. Last year, this was Gabe Davis's breakout game, and where he just showed the world how good he can be. And just let's talk about him last week. 3 for 176, I think it was, and 2 touchdowns. That's just phenomenal. So I'm looking at this and going, okay, well, Gabe Davis he should be highly priced. No, he's $10,810. He's in the 10K range. That's too cheap. That makes stacking Allen so viable. And McKenzie, he's sitting there at 7,100, I believe it is. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, sweet. Sorry, 7,300 for Isaiah McKenzie. I can stack McKenzie and Davis super easily with Josh Allen. The pricing here is juicy.
Yeah.
And potentially people might push that way, which means that a little bit of ownership moves off of Stephon Diggs. But Stephon Diggs' price at $16,730 is pretty good. And if we look at what he's done, when he has a massive game, he has a massive game. North of 45 points is in his range. But even if he hits like 30, he's doing well for you. So, and if he's hitting 30, who knows? Like, just think of what Josh Allen is doing. Yeah. So, I'm looking at this team. I'm going, like, you have to have exposure to it. You have to have exposure to it. I don't care what you say. Any lineup, even if you're not going to put in Allen or Mahomes, which, you know, it's hard to recommend, but we'll talk about some. You just want access to this game in some of these pieces. Like, who knows? Isaiah McKenzie could have 10 for 85 and a touchdown. Like, that's in his range of outcomes as well as the slot guy. So, I'm looking at this game. It's juicy. It's juicy. It's juicy. You don't really want to, you just don't want to fade it that much at all.
No.
Can it go wrong? Can it go wrong, Arch?
I mean, it's hard to see. I mean, the only thing you think about is maybe where Buffalo have the upper hand is their defense seems to be a little bit more competent than Kansas City, and maybe that they can actually sit on a lead and sort of slow things down. That's sort of how I see potentially a way out of this game.
Yeah, fair enough. I think Singletary is interesting at 10,740. He's shown he's a clear back, and I think you're going to see him have those touches, but he's really hard to trust. Kansas City are 8th in rush DVOA, and Josh Allen can take away goal line carries. Like, it's never safe with Singletary, and so you're going to see him down in like less than 10% owned. I think with Singletary.
Did you see Dwayne McFarlane's tweet about Singletary?
Oh, I may have missed it.
So Dwayne McFarlane, he works PFF, I think, maybe Matthew Berry as well a little bit. But basically it showed, I can't bring it up right now, but I'm just remembering when the Bills have a lead of above 8, he's barely used.
Yes.
But when it's within, say, 4 to 6 points, it's something like 70-80% work, and he's running routes. That's where his usage comes into. So if you think Kansas City are keeping, I think this is a Singletary game and potentially a pivot point leverage option as a nice little bring back on your Kansas City stacks potentially, which will get you a little bit different here.
For sure. And he showed he can receive the ball. What was it? A few weeks ago where he had that big game. He had 9 receptions for 78 and 1. So if you really want to get crazy, like, play him with Josh Allen. Like, people aren't going to be doing that. But if we see a receiving touchdown here and he gets involved in that short passing down work, then that's something. I think really what we're just saying here is that you can go anywhere in this game because there's almost guaranteed points somewhere. It's about how do you hit them nuts on it. So Kansas City's the other one. And I think, like, obviously, like, they're sitting second in all of these stats that we listed off before, pass rate over expected, pass yards per game, explosive play percentage, all that kind of stuff. They're kind of playing second fiddle to Buffalo, but they're right up there in terms of the league, obviously. And so Mahomes is sitting there at $14,160, and I'm looking at that going, well, that's tasty. For what he can do as a quarterback, I can save myself $2,000 and get a quarterback that has a ceiling that's almost as high. Like, this is a 5 passing touchdown game for Mahomes.
Yep.
Like, that's what this can do. And when he does that, he hits those high 30s. So I'm all in on Patrick Mahomes here. I think he's going to be less owned than Josh Allen.
Yep.
And so that almost makes me want to go, if I'm going to play, let's say I place 50 of my lineups in the micro out of 100. Say I play 50% of my lineups with quarterbacks from this game, I'd be happy to go 30 Mahomes, 20 Josh Allen, and that's potentially enough leverage on the field. So you just have to look at it and go, actually, Mahomes is just as viable. And I think the thing is, I look at Kelsey and Mahomes as Kelsey's obviously the clear number 1 pass catcher, and I'm only paying $28,000, 28% of my salary for that. Where if I'm Diggs and Allen, then I'm looking at 33% of my salary. So
yeah, that's big.
Like, that's big. That's a big difference in terms of how I'm paying for that. Obviously, though, if you bring guys like Gabe Davis in and stuff like that, it starts changing it. In terms of Kansas City, though, if I'm going to stack, it's obviously going to be with Kelsey, but I really want access to other pieces, and so the wide receivers are interesting. to say the
It's
least.
hard,
but
man. Which ones to pick?
it's really hard. There's one guy that I am higher on than the rest, and that is MVS. MVS is the guy that I'd rather go to. Okay, so his price there at 8,000, I think, is really nice price. He's my preferred choice based on a few things. He's got the team high 24.7% of the team air yards, so they're airing it out to him. He's the guy that they're gonna go to on those longer bombs. He's also on the field the most out of all the Kansas City wide receivers. He's at 80% route participation. So I'm looking at that and going, okay, MVS is a more trusted guy than Hardman.
Yep.
If they want to get it to him, they're going to push it down the field with him. And so if I'm looking for a few big plays, then MVS is the guy that I want to go to. So I think a double stack here with Kelsey and MVS is doable as well. Let's just briefly talk about CEH. He's 10K. He is the only Chiefs running back that I'd ever consider, obviously, in a big multi-game slate like this. But he's up and down. You really don't know where it's coming from. But he has 3 receiving touchdowns on the year, so don't hate pairing him with Mahomes. Similar to, I really see him and Singletary really similarly, really the same player in many ways in this game. So
I think they've got value as leverage plays. I think if you want access to this game in a different game script, Singletary and CH give you that access.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, though, Mecole Hardman annoyingly gets involved, though, doesn't he? Like, noticed I haven't played him this year, enough to matter that, and I watch him just get all of MVS's and Juju's targets that I'd want to go his way. So
they're using him in similar to what Tyreek Hill did in terms of those kind of jet sweeps and stuff like that.
I don't mind it as a play just to get different because I love the MVS call, but I reckon it's going to be he'll be the most popular Chiefs receiver.
It's true, but I still can't see him going over 15% MVS. That is,
no, but sure,
because I think it's just old Kelsey. Kelsey's just going to.
And the fact is, if you're playing the micro and you're probably putting in 15 to 20 Mahomes stacks here, you cycle through these boys, don't you? Like to try to find the combos.
That's right.
They're so cheap, really, for what they can do if they hit the targets.
Big time. So in terms of stacks, I think you got Allen, Diggs, and then one of Davis or McKenzie. I think that's the clear way you want to stack that, and then you want to bring it back. You definitely want to bring it back with Kelsey or CEH or MVS. I think CEH is probably the big leverage play, though. I think that's really where it can be because there's all these points. What if they come through? Well, what if half of them come from the ground? What if that happens, right? And then Mahomes, Kelsey, and MVS, and with the bring back of any of the Bills, really any of them. Yeah. I'm not opposed to bringing back with 2 of the Bills because that's how much better this game looks as an outlook compared to all the other games. So if you want to play 5-6 pieces from this game,
do it.
Go for it.
Absolutely.
The more you play from this game, the more different your team's going to be if they all hit. But that's the big thing. Anyway, so look, it's the game of the week. You want to watch it. You want to play it. Unfortunately, I'll be at work. So, fun times. Anyway,
how did this game not get prime time? That's what I want to know.
We had to watch Washington Commanders and the Bears, Chicago Bears play today. That was trash.
That's all right. I was firing off golf balls into the trees at that point. I love that. So,
well,
I don't know what's better.
In the midst of your golfing, you've been able to look at some stats for our next game, which is Arizona at Seattle. Talk us through it.
Look, this is the other game. This is the only other game north of 50 in terms of game totals. Seattle, has just been the story of fantasy in a way that, what the heck's going on there? They just keep delivering. I think we have to now just put away our prize and say, all right, Geno Smith, you're doing okay. Bloody hell. Anyway, we'll go through some stats in a sec. But basically, this game, I could see 70 points, Rowan. These teams are all offense, no defense. Fire them up. And fire up valued stacks as well. If you want to steer clear of the other game that we just covered, Buffalo, Kansas City, to try to steer away from ownership. I mean, potentially people are going to think that as well, Ron, and this gets pretty steamed up as well. So which makes
don't overestimate the field. I think sometimes we double guess ourselves in terms of these things, but because on paper the names don't look great.
No, you're right. Yeah, it's easy for the casual on a Sunday night before bed, just scrolling through. It's easy to overlook the Seattle guys still, isn't it? But
it is.
All right, let's just jump into Seattle, right? Like Geno Smith he's now a 12K running back. Love the 12K flat. You know, the more flat sort of salaries like that gets me excited, Rowan, for some reason. I don't know. Like,
just to see 3 zeros there. It's
just to see a nice round number. Their algorithm just popped a 12K flat. Like, more of that, please. I don't know. Feel like it needs more airtime. But love that. And what it does hit into remember my research of the QB dead zone? Yeah, yes. Sod that. Like, who cares about that for this game when it's a 51 over-under on playup.com.au? Thank you very much. We could definitely just put that away and just go with Geno Smith here. He is killing it. Talk about running an efficient offense. Like, the pace that Seattle been running at, they're only 21st in neutral game script pace. Like, they're not actually, moving it that much, throwing that many plays. But, man, he's just doing what he needs to do and scoring points. It's outrageous. Like, he is first Rowan in the NFL in explosive pass percentage. Pass plays over 15 yards.
It's crazy.
Can I just throw in that Arizona on the flip side defensively are 31st in defensively?
Oh, that's juicy. That's so juicy.
Oh, tell you what, I'm almost raising the desk right now. 4th in EPA and pass EPA per play as well. Arizona stuck in the 20s defensively in those stats as well. That's expected points added, by the way. Like, Geno should feast here. He's 7th in points per game as well. And just Seattle in general, overall offensive DVOA are first in pass and overall offense. Like,
love it.
Bloody hell. Like, we're now 5 weeks down. I think the fluke is gone, hopefully. Can we trust them, Rowan?
I don't know. But I'm going to play them this week. And if I get let down, I get let down because it's been a joy to watch so far. It's been a joy. It's been good. Anyway, our value pick of the week comes from this game. Hey, let's jump into that.
Let's do that. Where are we? Here we are.
Inconceivable.
Our value of the week this week, Rowan, are pretty much the Seattle offense, but more specifically, the wide receivers in Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. They are sitting in the 10K range, Rowan. 10K for these receivers. We're talking about a Seattle offense facing Arizona, who are 27th in pass DVOA. Seattle are first in explosive pass percentage, we just covered. Arizona are 31st defensively in explosive pass percentage. They are 4th in EPA, expected points added, and pass expected points average per play. Arizona are 23rd and 27th defensively. Like, this is the mismatch of the century. And who is Geno going to funnel it through to? His wide receivers, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. For some reason, Rowan, DK Metcalf is the cheaper of the two. Fire in DK Metcalf especially. Keep an eye on Tyler Lockett's health. He's a bit of a hamstring issue potentially in practice, but this is a beautiful spot for these Seattle wide receivers against pretty much witches' hats on defense against Arizona. Just fire up your Geno stacks this week.
I love these guys. If there wasn't this other Kansas City Bills game that I'm looking at, I'm just Lockett and DK are just right up there. Now, be careful. Lockett did report with a hammy with limited practice today. So limited still means he did something. So he's hoping to get out there still.
He'll
but
be fine.
Hopefully it's just a little bit of a awareness, as we'd say in the AFL.
Yes,
that's it. But let's talk about the running back. Let's talk about Kenneth Walker. Man, I'm excited by this guy.
Ken Walker, as he prefers to be known, Rowan.
Sorry, Ken.
Look, after Penny, left the building, 88% of snaps went Ken Walker's way. But of those 88% snaps, within that, he took 100% rush attempts. Like, he is the guy. And when he was on, 58% route participation as well. Gentlemen,
love it.
Gentlemen, we have a workhorse. Oh, I tell you what, I was spewing in our season-long leagues that he was, if you play with decent guys, he was already taken. But there was one league, Rowan, where he was available. He went for 72% of FAB budget, and I missed him. But anyway, this is not what we're here to talk about. But tell you what, fire up your Kenneth Walker.
His price
10K.
is so cheap still. I thought
So
Draftstars
cheap.
would respond. I was like, oh, he'd be like 13K. That was at 740. I'm like, this is it.
There's a couple in that price range that are in a similar, you go down to Benjamin, which we'll talk on the other side as well. Let's go now. Like Connor's out as well, most likely, isn't it, Rowan? So. When they're starting to sign bloody Corey Clement off the street, they need another body because they're rolling with Eno Benjamin. So these two guys, Kenneth Walker, Eno Benjamin, are the two, underpriced guys in the same game. I wouldn't play them in the same lineup together just because they are in the same game. They generally doesn't correlate too well. But we're looking at two guys with a huge workload with a very nice tasty price.
And Seattle, let's talk about Eno Benjamin. Seattle are 31st in defensive overall DVOA as well. That's just a great matchup for the other side of the ball. So
these teams don't know how to play defense, Rowan.
None whatsoever.
Look, we jumped over too quickly though, Rowan. We're not finished with Seattle. Arizona, again, the witches' hats, on defense here. They are 31st in points allowed to tight ends as well. And so we can fire up some tight ends here. Will Dissly, he's always the touchdown chance. Noah Fant is running more routes than him, though, so don't discount him just because the name's not quite as sexy as Dissly. But Noah Fant just is quietly plugging away, 28% targets per route run, and Dissly is, I think, 23% targets per route run. So basically, these guys are pretty much swapping snaps. Sometimes they're on the field together, but when they're on, they're getting targeted. So definitely cycle through these two guys in your Seattle stacks.
Here's a quick thought in terms of strategy, in terms of lineup building. We've got Kelsey. We've talked about Kelsey. Mark Andrews is coming up as well. These are the two top ceiling tight end plays ever that we'll see this year. Both on this slate, both priced in the 14K. And then we've got these guys priced down less than 6K. It's such a dramatic shift in terms of pricing, but the ceiling is so wildly different as well. So the pricing matches that. Is this a week where you can go double tight end?
Could be, Ron. I mean, I never feel good clicking the button on two tight ends, but you might need to just to get your roster where you want it to be anyway.
Salary saving is nice.
Especially when we talk about Andrews a bit later on, just how condensed that target share is going to be this week.
We're just going double tight end with Kelsey and Andrews. Anyway, we're jumping the gun. We'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah. Anyway, so are we done with Seattle? I think we're done.
Let's talk Arizona.
Look, Seattle's defense, hashtag not good. 31st in DVOA, 31st in drive success rate, 24th in play success rate, 31st in points per game. They suck at defense. So fire up Arizona as well. I tell you what, Ron, the more I looked at this game and you look at the matchup, it is just bonkers that it's has the feels of a college game going nuts, back and forth. But I don't see how this game fails. But anyway, this is the last game without DeAndre Hopkins. So offense is pretty much this is the last real huge Marquise Brown game. Still only 11K though.
I love it. I love Marquise Brown this week. Give it to
me. He's the wide receiver 6 on the year. He's priced as a wide receiver 12 on Draftstars for an 11-game slate. Well, that's disrespect. In a game script that should just fall his way. How do you not play Marquise Brown this week?
Seriously, give me a Bills and Kansas City stack, and then give me a mini stack of Marquise Brown and Tyler Lockett, or Marquise Brown and DK Metcalf. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, he's pretty much on the ground all the time. Like 92% route participation, 26% targets per route run. Like this guy, Kyler's loving him. And I love that there's this chemistry built up. And look, I'm not convinced that it drops off too much when Hopkins comes back because, it's not a one-man show. It might drop. It'll probably, I reckon, in terms of target share, maybe drop down like 4%. That's all. I think Marquise Brown, but potentially next week is a nice little play to get him in anyway. Only 11K, get him in there. Huge, potentially could have been our value of the week, to be honest, Rowan.
Yeah.
Like, this game script's beautiful.
Yeah,
Ertz, old man Ertz, similar route production, really, target share. Seattle is dead last in schedule-adjusted fantasy points allowed to the tight ends. I just don't understand how this matchup happens. It's just beautiful, really. Honestly, Ron, as I was looking, I was like, it's almost debilitating. You don't know where to attack it because they suck everywhere on defense and every bit of the offense could go off, and Ertz is in that position as well. Rondale Moore is probably the only other piece on the Arizona side in terms of pass catches that you're interested in. Nice to see a bit more of a consistent role happening. 86% route participation last week with a handy 8 targets.
I think the price will scare people off of Rondale Moore as well.
Exactly.
And he could have a big game. He could have a big game. So
I think this is the leverage play off of Hollywood here.
For sure.
I'm struggling to just talk now, Rowan. AJ Green annoyingly had 72%.
Don't talk to me. I don't want AJ Green. Ignore that.
72% route participation for 6.4K, Rowan.
No,
what do you reckon?
Stop. I don't care.
Throw the dart. No. As a dart throw in a 51 point over-under game, you could go worse.
I'd rather Mecole Hardman, thanks.
All right, let's move on. So how do you want to stack this game? Look, I'm going to stack it with Gino into DK or Locker, or maybe both if you really think this game's just going to go bananas. But I think Gino with a DK and then a Fant or a Disley is a nice little stack here. As you get a lot of value at those prices, and then bringing it back with Hollywood is a no-brainer, really. Or cycle in a Hurts every now and again. On the other side, Kyler, Hollywood, and Hurts, or I think Hurts or more is the other pieces you sort of cycle between, and bringing it back with DK or Lockett, or with a Kenneth Walker. Really, there's so many ways you can play this game. I really like this matchup, Ron.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
I think we can go a lot quicker and through the rest. What do you reckon?
Yeah, look, let's just quickly talk about Tampa Bay at Pittsburgh. It's over under 45, a bit gross, but Tampa Bay are 9-point favourites here. Pittsburgh are allowing the 3rd most passing yards per game, the 9th most rushing yards per game. The 6th most total points in the league have been allowed by the Pittsburgh defense, and the Bucs are just back. The Bucs are 2nd in pass rate over expected the last 2 weeks. Although they were 22nd in explosive pass percentage, but I think this just means Godwin and Fournette are just the beneficiaries of this possession-based air attack, and I love it. Brady's sitting there at 13K. I don't mind that, really. It's cheap. It's a way to get off the chalk, and he's still solid. So you could see him pass for easily over 300 yards and a few touchdowns here to make value for sure. So yeah, I don't mind Brady as a way to get off of that. Remember, Josh Allen just decimated Pittsburgh through the air. Josh Allen could have hit the league record in passing yards last week if they didn't take him off early. So Brady should have an absolute day. Fournette, he's sitting up there at 14,500. I don't mind that. He's a guy that can catch the ball. Last week he had 10 receptions, 83 and a touchdown, and then rushed for 56 and a touchdown. Like, this is like, you can play all the Bucs. That's really what we're saying here. You can onslaught them easily. I want to look at this from the lens of
super low ownership this week.
Yo, big time. Like all the ceilings are there. Like, the ceilings are in play for all of these guys. And especially if we see something from Kenny Pickett. I'm not saying we will, because Tampa Bay have the first defense and pass defense and DVOA. Like, they're just solid. They're really good.
Tough couple games.
I just don't want to. I'm not going to bring it back with any of the Pittsburgh offense except maybe Pickens, because Pickens is seen to be Pickett's favorite target, and there might be something there. 6 receptions for the last 2 weeks. So really, it's just do an onslaught. I'm happy to play Brady, Evans, Golden, and Fournette in this game and just see what that gets me. Like, could it go for a 40-10 game? Yes, it could, because they are just that good when they are on song. So yeah, I'm looking at that and I'm going, just there's 4 pieces in this game I want, and it's Brady, Evans, Golden, and Fournette. I don't really want anyone else. Tight end's too good. You don't need to go to Brait or Otten or any of those guys, so don't worry about that. It's Brady, Evans, Golden, Fournette. That's really it. Don't have to say anything else about this game, because Pittsburgh suck. Yeah,
that's right. And Otten, I think, will catch steam now. I think he'll be a little slightly sneaky popular.
Maybe.
And I'm out if he is. So.
Well, if Brait's in, then I'm definitely out on Otten.
Yep.
Next game, Minnesota at Miami.
Yep. Look, we're looking at just 4 games this slate and looking at the overrunners. Minnesota, Miami came in next in line. But I don't know. Look, I've got another game that we're going to go through, Ron, but let's just quickly look at Minnesota, Miami. As I looked through it, the less and less I got excited about it. Look, it could be a high-scoring game. Both teams have struggling defenses, both 28th and 29th defense in DVOA. So, and they're both, I'd say okay offenses. Obviously, Miami takes a big beat with the third stringer at quarterback in Skylar Thompson, but at the end of the day, Justin Jefferson's always can hit that ceiling, and so he always has that sort of slate breaking opportunity. What is he this week? Just a smidge under 17K.
Yeah,
potentially is going to be under owned due to just the juicy matchups that we've been talking about so far. So I think he could be a good play here against a weak Miami defense.
The pivot is off of Diggs, really. Like, it's play a Josh Allen stack with Davis and McKenzie and play Jefferson instead.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. Other than that, pretty much Cook is the only guy I'm looking at on the Minnesota side. It's Cook and Jefferson have the ceiling opportunity. No one else really does. And he could really just control this game. Look, if you want to, if you're feeling nasty, go KJ Osborne at 6K. He's 77% route participation on the season. He's clearly the wide receiver 3. He's still only 6K. Maybe this is a game he catches the touchdown. It's worth a dart throw, I think. On the other side, it's pretty much Tyreek Hill. Is Waddle's health? Where are we sitting with Waddle at the moment?
Oh, he's not on the injury report, so he's got a clean bill of health at the moment. It seems so. Yeah, but Tyreek Hill's the guy that they was scheming in last week when Bridgewater went down. It was like, all right, let's just get the ball to Hill.
Get the ball to Tyreek Hill. And to be honest, if I look at this game, I don't want to really play Cousins in DFS. Like, he is really like, you look at his last few scores, he's only hit 20 once. I don't like on this slate. I don't think it's going to get us there, even though it's it's a nice little value here. We see not often that QBs in this price range get us there to be able to get that top 10 finish. I'm probably really in this game only looking at mini stacks, and I'm looking at can I do a Jefferson Hill type mini stack or maybe a Cook Hill mini stack? That's pretty much maybe Waddle as well. Like so,
yeah.
But other than that,
with quarterbacks, we need to push each other. That's really the thing. I can't see. Skylar Thompson's not going to push Kirk Cousins
unless he's turns into something. But yeah, unlikely. But my other game, I thought as I sent you a text, just a few minutes before we go live, I don't like the Minnesota Miami game. I'm pivoting to Baltimore at New York Giants, and so mainly because how are we going to do a podcast without mentioning Lamar Jackson against the Giants?
Big time.
Like, I mean, we look at the quarterbacks that have the ceiling, and Lamar Jackson's that guy. Like, we can get out of this world type scores out of this guy. And so against the Giants especially, we shouldn't overlook it. And so I'm looking here at, Rashad Bateman is out as well. And so we're going to look at a really condensed target share going on where pretty much the offense is going to go through Mark Andrews. And maybe, and then look, our wide receivers, the best of the rest is Devin Duvernay. And he's only 8K. And so you could throw them all into a nice little stack. Lamar into Andrews, into Duvernay. And that could really do well, I think, and give you room for other pieces. Lamar Jackson's sub 15K here, Rowan, as well.
It's a great price for Lamar. And I think people are going to be scared off. We've seen the last 2 weeks. But let's look at the weeks before that. His ceiling is with the best of them. It's with Allen.
Yep.
It's easily. If we see a ceiling game from Lamar at low ownership, at 10% ownership, and that's a beautiful thing.
And this has all the makings of a ceiling Mark Andrews game. The guy's on 33% targets per out run on the year. And that's when Bateman's in. I think every second target's going to Mark Andrews this week. There's no other way you can do this game. So,
I agree.
Can I interest you in a little 6K DeMarcus Robinson? A little dart throw, Rob? 73% route.
You're pushing it, Arch. You're pushing it.
73% route participation last week. Is he going to be the wide receiver 2 this week?
Yeah, probably will be. But do I?
But
care
are we
about
ever
that?
interested in a wide receiver 2 on Baltimore's offense?
No, I'm not.
Maybe not.
So let's
but
move
6K,
on to the Giants.
6K, you could be move over the Giants. Daniel Jones at 10K is going to run the ball a little bit, but I mean, really, again, on this slate, probably not someone I'm that excited about.
Let me just point out though, we're talking about quarterbacks pushing each other, right?
Yes.
Let's look at who he's played. He's played Ryan Tannehill, Baker Mayfield, Cooper Rush, Justin Fields, Aaron Rodgers, who's not having a stellar season. He hasn't needed to do too much, and Daboll's got a real good control over this team.
What are they, 4-1 as well? It's ridiculous.
Say that again?
Aren't they 4-1, the Giants?
Yeah, they're 4-1,
Bloody
which is
hell.
crazy. I honestly think Daniel Jones could have a really a really good game. I think we could see that rushing upside really take hold here.
Well, you look at the matchup as well. Baltimore giving up the most points, passing yards per game, 26 in defensive rush DVO as well, and so Jones on the ground could do quite well. But also Saquon Barkley on this game is a really nice little bring back.
Oh, big time.
Hard to fit in a Lamar, Andrews, Barkley type situation. But if you can do it, that's nice, Rowan. So, and you'd sprinkle a bit of Duvernay on that at 8K, and it probably works pretty well. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I really like that. I think that there's 3 stacks that I'm kind of playing around with aside from Mahomes and Allen, and that is Lamar and Murray and Geno. And so the Lamar stacks here with the Barkley bring back is, it's juicy. It's juicy.
Yeah. If you look at New York Giants wide receivers, forget it. Don't bother. Unless you've actually been to the future and know who's going to catch the ball on Sunday. Don't bother. They're pretty sure they're pretty much all 6K because Draftstars has just said, I don't know. No one knows.
Darius Slayton has come back from the dead to be listed as the number 1 wide receiver.
Nah, get out of here. I'm not doing it. I can't play him. Honestly.
Hey, he's got 6 for 79 last week. Solid.
Where is Kadarius Toney and Wan'Dale Robinson? Can you just get healthy? What is wrong with you?
That's a great question.
Anyway, let's move on. There are matchups anyway, Rowan. Are you happy with that pivot off of the Minnesota-Miami game into this one?
Yeah, don't mind it. Don't mind it at all. All right, well, let's go through position by position. I think we talked about the best quarterbacks that are out there. So I really only, I had initially thought, let's talk about Daniel Jones anyway, because he's sitting there at 10K in terms of value quarterbacks. But the other guy that I want to think about is Jimmy G. Yeah. He's coming up against Atlanta. And Atlanta are bad. They're not good at all. 27th in defensive overall DVOA. This is a opportunity for Jimmy G. So I know everyone likes to bag him, and especially in terms of his fantasy output and stuff like that. But if you can get something going with Debo and Ayuk and Kittle, it's an opportunity there. So I'm not looking for a high total in terms of yardage, but this could be a three passing touchdown game for Jimmy G against Atlanta. So we'll see. We'll see what that looks like. But
at the end of the day, in a single entry comp, you're not going to play him. But if you want to add some extra into your micro, throw it in.
Trevor Lawrence is the other guy. He's someone that has a ceiling that will be throwing a lot.
He?
Well, he has more of a ceiling. It's, shows us that he can throw for 250 odd and a few touchdowns. And so, there's something in that against a pretty weak Indianapolis Colts. So I don't mind Trevor Lawrence either.
Yeah, running backs.
Yeah, running backs. I'm looking at this and I'm going, who has the opportunity? Well, Damian Harris is very unlikely to play. And if he's out against a Cleveland defense that just has been absolutely gashed, 32nd in rush defense DVOA. Cleveland are rubbish in terms of their defense at the moment. Ramondre Stevenson is the guy. And when Belichick is like, I don't have any of my passing down running backs and I don't have my normal early down running back, I'm just going to give it to the guy that is left, and that's Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah. And so at sub 14,000, Ramondre's going to get everything. He put up 161 rushing yards last week. Like it's fantastic. So
they priced him up though, haven't they?
Which means that the ownership will be off of him. Which, like when I'm looking at the other guys like Kenneth Walker and we didn't talk about Raheem Mostert, but he's the guy now in Miami. So like there's cheaper guys down there. So I really like Ramondre Stevenson. The other guy they priced up is Breece Hall, coming up against Green Bay, and Green Bay are the 30th in rush DVOA. So
it's
another
a
beautiful
show
matchup
now as well.
Oh, big time. Man, his stats from last week are phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, Breece Hall and Ramondre Stevenson are two guys that I think are going to be really low in ownership, but I think are really worth a pick.
Love it.
You have a value there at running back, Arch?
Look, I think Jeff Wilson at 11.8K is criminally underpriced against Atlanta. No one else is running the ball. I mean, I guess the thinking is, does Tevin Coleman, snake a couple touchdowns again? But Jeff Wilson is just taking, all the work, between the 20s really, and I know Tevin Coleman's still a practice squad guy, and so I wouldn't be banking on him getting in his way too much. But Atlanta's given up 25th most points to running backs. They're 30th in rush expected points against per play. Like, it's a lovely matchup there.
Yeah, it's really nice. We have a running back as our fade of the week this week, so tee that one up for me, Arch, and we'll jump into that.
I declare bankruptcy!
I'm going to fade Alvin Kamara this week, and it's a name that we've all known and loved for the last few years as a brilliant pass-catching running back with, multiple touchdown upside. But the reality is that this year he just isn't getting red zone touches at all. They're not giving it to him. There's Mark Ingram and Taysom Hill that are, vulturing all of his opportunities for touchdowns. And that's really the main reason. Cincinnati, they're going up against, it's their 11th in defensive rush DVOA. The total's not high. It's in the low 40s. And so I'm looking at this game going, it's not something I really want to have access to. And when I'm looking at Kamara and thinking about DFS, we've got to think about pricing. So why would I go to Kamara when I can have Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette against Pittsburgh, Aaron Jones versus the Jets, all for a cheaper price? Yes, look, he's not going to be owned much because of these things, but I just think it's too thin of a play. So I'm going to be fading Alvin Kamara this week. Anyone else there in the running back land that you're looking to fade, Arch? I'm looking at like Najee Harris is priced at 11,660. I'm not happy with.
I don't want anything
with him.
to do with Pittsburgh offense. No.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Let's just quickly say Aaron Jones though. I really we haven't mentioned the Jets Green Bay game. They're up at a over-under of about 45, 46. The pace of these teams, though, is slow. Aaron Jones is probably the only piece from this game that I'd be happy to have in my lineup. So
we're not seeing A.J. Dillon as much recently as well. So
That's right. Anyway, let's move on to wide receivers. Arch, you want to talk about the most expensive player on the slate?
Well, that's the thing. Cooper Kupp, I mean, he's basically 22K. Would have loved a nice round 22K figure on the nose there, Rowan. But
of course,
here we are wanting
3 zeros.
Yeah, just want those 3 zeros. Look, to me, he's almost jumped into 2K in a week there, Rowan. I don't know what he was last week, but
I think 3K. I think he's jumped 3K in the week.
Jeepers, the matchup's nice against Carolina, but maybe not that nice. But to me, it's more of a game theory thing where I'm hoping that price just turns people off in terms of ownership, and that we actually could get a Cooper Kupp, sub 20, maybe sub 15% ownership here. And
even
so
less,
if you can jam him in, I think this potentially is a nice little way to have a bit of uniqueness in your lineups.
Yeah, look, it's going to be hard to get to him, which is where that potential double tight end
exactly
might be necessary to play those 5K guys to get Cooper
your
Kupp
5K tight end with a basement defense and then maybe a 6K wide receiver as well. Yeah, it's going to make a different lineup. That's what I'm saying. So maybe there's a way that you can, if you hit the right other pieces. But Cooper Kupp, I think, he's always going to hit, isn't he? Like,
you'd think so,
especially against Carolina.
Oh, I'm going to find it hard to play him, but look, I like what you're saying. In terms of value, when it comes to the wide receivers, I'm looking down here in the sub 10K range. I'm actually a big fan of Jacoby Myers if he gets up. He's a possession king, and
he's
we
quietly
saw last
going
week,
about it at the moment over in New England. They're not really front and center this year, are they?
Look at these results: 9 for 95, 7 for 111 and a touchdown.
Beautiful. Keep it going.
Coming up against Cleveland, who are the where are they? They are 30th overall in defensive DVOA. So look, Jacoby Myers, I'm a big fan of this week. And we talked about Duvernay as well. Like Duvernay, I really love. Like they're just scheming him in. They're manufacturing touches for him against the Giants. No Bateman. Oh, I love Devin Duvernay this week.
Absolutely.
And let's just talk about DJ Moore.
You got to play him this week.
He's PJ Walker comes in.
That's it. It's different quarterback.
So there is something about this price. Again, let's talk about Cooper Kupp. If we get a DJ Moore of old game, and we get 10 for not 10 for, but he might go 7 for 90 and a touchdown. Like that's.
I love how we're talking about a DJ Moore of old when he's 25 years old.
Mate. Remember when he was 22? He was so good.
Oh, bloody hell.
Anyway, so
someone get that man a quarterback who can, pass to him. He's such a good player.
Look, and the Rams aren't great this year in terms of their defense, in terms of their pass defense, that's for sure. So, like, real middle of the pack stuff for the Rams. So, look, DJ Moore has to have a shout out for what he can do and what his talent says at 7,600. I'm not opposed to him being like the cheap guy that I have to push in somewhere.
I can play him.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it, it's really Isaiah McKenzie in that price range is the only other piece you'd probably play.
Yeah, pretty much. Or Pickens, but
or
Dobbs.
Dobbs, whatever you want to call it.
Dobbs ain't bad. And Dobbs is a fan favorite, but there's a lot of Green Bay Packers fans in Australia, so
yeah, that's right.
He'll get some ownership, that's for sure. Anyway, let's talk about tight ends. We've got the big dogs at the top, Kelsey and Mike Andrews, and I don't really know if there's anywhere else I want to go above 8K. David Njoku, maybe.
Yeah,
aside from that, I'd be happy to take a punt on Taysom Hill, just for
what about Hayden Hurst?
Say again?
Bit of Hurst?
Oh, the game environment doesn't excite me.
Yeah, there's better options out there.
Definitely. So, look, Taysom Hill, we know what he can do, especially if Andy Dalton's starting. If Andy Dalton is starting, then Taysom Hill is a guy that I'm very happy to play. Very happy to play.
Evan Ingram?
Yeah, I like Evan Ingram. 5,850 for a guy that can catch a touchdown. 6 for 69 last week. Woo, love it.
Super involved in the offense.
Big time. So there's some good cheap options, which you might have to use. Defenses. I'm looking at the Rams against Carolina against PJ Walker. I'm looking at the Bucks against Pittsburgh.
Yep.
They're the top two, and then I'm happy to call them the best
49ers
premium guys as well. 49ers have been phenomenal. They've been turning it over, though, and getting touchdowns. So I don't know if that can continue. So just got to be mindful of the variance, I think. So 49ers potentially come down off of that. But yeah, probably Bucks are my favourite play. Play. Cheap defenses, though. There's a few here, Arch. Who do you like?
Look, we've got the Jags against Indianapolis. Like, what's happening in Indy? Like, honestly, like that offense is putrid. But you never know what Jacksonville turns up. So, I wouldn't want to go too heavy on them, but they do have that ceiling, obviously. Against Indy, jeez, they're already doubling up there, Ron.
I know it's a divisional game, so they're seeing him again, but they shut them out last time, so could do it again.
Yep. Vikings against Miami, hence my bit of pause for why I didn't really love that game. I think potentially this is a point where your third string quarterback can turn the ball over on. So
I love
Minnesota.
What I love about the Vikings is that they've had a turnover, at least one turnover every game with it.
Yep.
Like that's awesome.
And why not bring it back for 6 as well? So
right.
Saints v Cincy as well. What do you think about that one?
Oh, look, we just know that Burrow loves to get sacked.
How's the consistency in score for the Saints? 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Anyway, but hopefully
for me, it's the sack numbers. The sack numbers are the thing that I'm looking at.
It's the sacks. Yep.
But the Carolina Panthers, I'm also looking at. The Rams aren't anything fantastic, and actually Stafford's been hitting the ground a lot.
Tell you what, it seems to be a year where a lot of old boys are just starting to show their wares and setting up for some rookies to come in and take their places next year. So, Stafford's looking tired.
So basement, I really like the Panthers actually, and the Jets aren't half bad either, to be honest. So let's look at those guys. The Panthers probably my choice in terms of the value ones. All right, let's see if we can make a quick lineup here, Arch.
Line up in a minute, maybe?
Line up in a minute. Have you got a timer? Is this what's... Have you lined that up?
No,
that's
geez,
right.
Bloody, what are you to take me for? Someone organised?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm here. Right.
Let's create it'll be a bit chalky, but let's create a stack. Let's go with the Josh Allen stack.
You going Josh Allen? I was going to go Geno for that anyway.
You want to do a Geno one?
Oh, I just want to see what happens.
All right, let's do a Geno one. Okay,
let's go a Geno stack.
Let's go Geno, and we want to put Lockett. No, you want DK, don't you? You love DK.
Yeah, I like DK. Cheaper and just better.
Now,
and then what do you reckon, a Fant or a Disley?
I like the routes run. Let's go with Fant. He's cheaper as well.
The Disley maybe carries the ownership with the touchdowns maybe in the past.
That's it.
Who's your favourite defense? Do you want to throw that in first?
Carolina, my favourite defense. If I'm gonna, I need to have access.
Yes.
To the Kansas City game. So, do we want a double tight end and play Kelsey, or are we gonna go super? Like this is a micro lineup with a CEH or MVS.
Jeez, that's a tough one.
It's a big question. Look, I'm going to put Kelsey in.
Yeah, let's go double tight end.
And then I want to play Stephon Diggs.
Yes.
Running back land, we can get to a few places here. Like we've got 12,200 remaining for 3 positions.
Give me Jeff Wilson.
Sure. And I'll take Kenneth Walker. No, we can't do Kenneth Walker because of the stack that we're going with. I'm going to go Ramondre.
What about Eno?
Say that again?
Eno Benjamin.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. Let's go Eno.
Save some salary.
Definitely. Oh, he's so cheap at 9K essentially.
Who we got left?
Look, my favourite choice here is probably to go Mike Evans, which gives us a bunch left over. Which I would personally, I don't know, I'd probably be putting it on top of Jeff Wilson to get up to a Fournette.
Yes. Like Fournette Evans, you happy with that?
Yeah, I don't mind it. Like I said before, I'm happy to onslaught Brady. So there's points going to be scored, and Fournette and Evans are the touchdown guys when it comes to this offense. So There you go. There's something. A little Geno stack for you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Geno gives you that options, doesn't it? Like, you know, Geno with DK, like you're not spending much.
No, you're really not. You don't have to go up too much at all, which is I'm a big fan of that. Beautiful. Well, everybody, it's been fun. I'm really looking forward to this week. It's going to be fantastic. Some great games of football to watch.
Every time.
That's it. Remember, gamble responsibly. 1-800-858-858. But Arch, let us sit in this. I can't wait to build my lineups on Sunday night. It's going to be good fun. And I hope you recover from your golf trip, mate.
Now look, sitting in here with you is all the recovery I need. Now it's just on to move on to build some lineups round. Let's do it.
All right. Have a great week 6, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Yes. Bye.